Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, I want to take this time to introduce one of our new listeners. His name is Lucas. He's out of Canada. I want everyone to give him a warm welcome.
Welcome.
Shabbat Shalom.
Boker Tov.
Praise Yah. Lucas has found us online, and he likes what we're doing. He likes the idea about us going deeper into the Torah, which is a beautiful thing. So I want to thank and praise Yah for him and his attendance today. And I just wanted to let everybody know that, this is why we do what we do. We come to learn, we come to study, we come to understand the things of the Most High. And often too, sometimes it seems very difficult, because we have to accept some things, about ourselves. We get to see a mirror and a reflection of who we really are. And we also get a chance to see our development as a people. We get to see, how far we've come and how far we've been away from the Creator's ways and how he's been working with us. Earlier this week, like I said, we've been talking about Yisrael. And one of the things that stood out to me again, and I can't just get it out of my head, is this idea about Ki'im Yisrael, meaning, because, if you will become Yisrael. So we understand that if right there in Hebrew is more of a condition, it's conditional. And we're going to express that today a little bit deeper. I told you earlier this week too that we were going to discuss this idea about being a servant and being a slave. And we found that our Father, he indentured himself to his brother and said, hey, you know what? I'm your servant, and we understand that you can't be two servants to two different people, right? And so we realized that he didn't go where his brother wanted him to go. I didn't mention to you the reason why he gave the animals. And the animals were basically a setup, meaning like he knew that more than likely if he could, there's several reasons. Number one, I want to give this to appease him and give him a minka, to give him a gift so I can get him off of me. And secondly, too, I'm going to give these animals to him because at the end he uses the animals. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so he gives the animals to his brother, but at the end, it was the animals that were used in order to make sure that he didn't go with his brother. Because he said, his brother's like, hey, why don't you come with me? Or let's go right now, or let me stay behind. He's like, no. If I really found grace and mercy and favor in your eyes, then, you should let me just keep going, at my pace and the things that I'm doing. He said, well, let me leave some men behind. He said, no. He said, if I found grace in your eyes, right? And so he used those animals as a way to continue to put that space there like he did with his servants. Remember, he said that I need you to put space in between each one of these herds, and every time you see him, you say this to him. So you see here again that he's leveraging the animals and the children and the family, saying, if I push them too hard, they're going to die. So that was another thing that I wanted to point out. We also found earlier this week too, in your reading, you found out about what happened to his daughter. You guys remember what happened to his daughter? His daughter, Dinah?
Yes.
What happened to Dinah? Somebody tell me.
She was raped by Shechem.
Yeah. It wasn't a regular mutual thing. She was raped. And according to the Hebrew text, she was violently raped. Okay, violent. And they say humbled, but in the Hebrew, it talks about he forcefully pushed her down, and he violently took her virginity away from her, and he defiled her. And as a result of that, the brothers decided, well, you know what? We're going to talk to these people. And they were hurt. And one of the things that I found in the scripture is, like it says, they were grieved and they were hurt. The same grief that they felt was the same grief that the Creator had when he made humanity. So it said, remember in I think in Genesis, in chapter number 6, it said he was grieved that he had made man, and he was hurt and he was grieved and he felt a sorrow. So the same grief that they felt is the same grief that the Creator had felt when he made humanity, and because of the way that they were acting. So what we can understand from that is that all the emotions that we have, it originated with the Creator. Whether that's fear, whether that's sorrow, whether that's grief, whether that's love, whatever it may be, whether it's disappointment. So everything that we're feeling, we got those feelings from our Creator. Today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this, this idea about who Yisrael is. What is Israel? Who is Yisrael? You know, and how does one become Yisrael? Okay. And feel free to ask me any questions that we have. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know we got a lot of information to cover. Let me see. Put this on focus. Okay. So our Torah portion is called YHWH. And YHWH means, and he sent. So again, we saw all the different things that Yaakov sent. He sent the herds, he sent his servants, you know, he sent Malachim, he sent his messengers. We also see this idea about the camp. Remember Makane, about the camp and how, you know, they were divided into two camps. We got the idea of the Minka. We had the idea of compassion, grace, and mercy. One of the things too that I saw in chapter number, I think it was 35. No, it was 34. Chapter number 34, Shechem had asked that he would find grace in those brothers' eyes. And what did they tell him? You can remember? He said, hey, let me find grace. Can I find grace in your eyes? And he said, yeah, sure. As long as you what?
Circumcise yourself and the men.
Circumcised, yes. So they got the death penalty through circumcision, which is interesting. But the focus that I want to focus on is that in the Torah, all I keep seeing is, let me find grace in your eyes. Let me find grace. And in that in particular instance, there was no grace given to him. They didn't show him any mercy, and they didn't show him any compassion. So we have these two ideas where one individual, which was Yaakov, he told his brother, I sent this gift in order to find grace in your eyes. I wanted to find grace in your eyes and find favor. And so here's another one where Shechem comes and his father tries to offer. He said, I'll pay whatever amount of money I need to pay. See, so you got those two ideas there. You got one who says, I can give a gift. Another one wants to give a gift, and they're both after the same thing. But one thing is in honesty and out of fear. And the other one is, I just violated you and I'm still expecting to receive grace. So what we need to understand is that there's going to be grace that are going to be given to some individuals, and there's grace and mercy that won't be given to others. We found out earlier this week when the Most High told Moshe, he said, I will show mercy. I will show Cain to whomever I show Cain. And I will show compassion to whoever I show compassion. I'm the one who makes that decision. I'm the one who makes that choice. We also found out that the struggle, right, that they put in English that Yaakov was having, his struggle wasn't with the Most High. He was persistent with the Most High. He's persistent with him in all the things that he was going through. He never gave up. You know, he had this perseverance about himself, you know, in spite of the difficulty. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. The question I ask is, who is the servant? Who is the servant? Okay. Who's the one that Yah chose? What type of servant? What is the servant like? Where will this servant be, or where is this servant going to be, and where is this service going to be taking place? And of course, why? Why be a servant? Or what's the purpose? What's the intention of someone being a servant? So the first one is who? Who's the servant? I'm going to share this with you in this opening verse right here in YHWH, chapter number 41. For those of you who are unaware or uninitiated, there are what they call the servant songs. Has anyone ever heard of the servant songs in Isaiah? Has anyone ever heard that term before? The servant songs? Yes?
No.
No. Okay. So in the book of Isaiah, they have a body of work called the servant songs, and they begin in chapter number 40, and they go all the way up through chapter number 66. And the creator is talking about who his servant is. Okay. And what's the servant going to be like, and what they're going through, and all these different types of things. Okay. So, but he's addressing this servant into the world. Okay. He's letting the world know who his servant is. And there's a reason for it, which we're going to discuss today. Okay. So the idea here in Isaiah is, and what does Isaiah's name mean? What does YHWH, what does his name mean?
Salvation.
His name means salvation. So those servant songs are all discussing about what the salvation is going to be for the world. Okay. What true salvation is, and who's going to bring that salvation. Okay. But it can only happen if this in particular servant is the one that's going to bring it, right? So it says, keep silent before me, coastlands. Let the peoples replenish their strength and let them approach. Who? Let who approach? Let the peoples, okay? Let them approach. Let them, who? The peoples. Let them what? Speak. And guess what they're going to say? Let us, who? The people, assemble for judgment. The coastlands, the people in the world, okay, are making a declaration, okay, that they're going to have to come approach for Yah for judgment, okay? And so judgment is associated with salvation, okay? They go hand in hand, and I'm going to prove that to you today. So salvation and judgment go hand in hand. Okay, so the day of judgment is not just the day of judgment, it's the day of salvation. Everybody that's online or listening to my voice, you're interested in salvation. This is what you're after. You want to be saved. This is the reason why we accepted the Christianity message, because we want to be saved, and we want to be saved from judgment. Okay, but there was a question that's asked. And the question is this: who has raised from the east one who is just and called him to be in his service? Okay. So the who do you think that who is?
So the Holy One, the Most High.
Yes, it's the Most High. And it says he has raised from the east. Now I looked this word up, and I was looking in Hebrew, and the word for east in Hebrew is called Quedam, okay, which is a kof, a dalet, and a mem, and it means the east. It means the ancient place, right? And then I said, okay, well, let me look it up and see if it is the Quedam, and it's not the Quedam. It's not that. So it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with this idea of something from the ancient, from the past, okay? What it has to do with the east is where the sun rises. That's where the sun rises. It rises from the east, okay? When we did our Torah portion this week, question for you is, what, after Yaakov received the blessing from the man, he was trying to receive the blessing before what?
The sun rose.
Before the sun rose. The man wanted him to let him go before the sun rose, okay? So I want you to keep that idea in your mind, the east versus the sunrise, okay? And he received, and soon as he received the blessing from the man, the sun had shone on him. It rose upon who? Yaakov, okay? Who is just, and he says, and called him to be in his service. So he's calling someone to be in his service, okay? So the time in which the Creator, the Holy One of Israel, is calling this individual He's calling him at this time when the sun rises. Okay. And the sun is going to rise on the day of judgment. Okay. I hope you can see this. So the service of this in particular one that he's calling to be in his service is going to happen from when the sun rises, which he's making reference to YHWH, which is named Yisrael. So when he calls his servant, he's calling him in because it's time for judgment. Put that in there. Write that down. Follow me. I have this word loving here for a reason. Okay. You say, well, what does that have to do with what you're talking about? I'm going to explain it to you. Same chapter, same prophet. He says this. But you, Yisrael, my servant, Yaakov, whom I have chosen, descendants of Abraham, my friend. You guys have heard this before, haven't you? That Abraham is what? My friend, right? You've heard this? How many years have you heard that?
Many years I've heard that, but I raised my hand because I just had a question before you moved on about judgment and the sun.
Okay.
Okay, so you're saying that you're saying that the day of judgment, because you know how it says in Joel, which is his great day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the day, but it's just like you say, it's also the day of our salvation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it says that the sun and the moon are going to grow dark.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You know why?
Yeah. No, I don't. That's why I was asking you.
The sun and the moon are going to grow dark because there's a greater light that's rising.
Oh, okay. All right. Toda. Thank you.
Remember, the Most High says that you will no longer need the sun and you no longer need the moon because I will be over you, Yerushalayim. I will be your sun, and it'll be 7 times more light. Okay. So this is, and where does the Most High come from? He comes from the east. That's where he comes from, where the sun rises. And he makes mention of this sun, which I'm going to get into in the book of Malachi. It tells you that the sun of righteousness is going to rise with healing in its wings. What? On the day of judgment. Okay. So listen to this carefully. He says, but Israel, you're my servant, Yaakov, whom I chosen, descendants of Abraham, my friend. And a matter of fact, Akoti, I didn't see your hand the first time. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I don't know if the device didn't pick it up, but I didn't see it. This right here is inaccurate. Doesn't say that in Hebrew. Doesn't say that. It says that the one I love, that I'm loving. It's the one I'm loving. Not my friend. Okay? Look it up for yourselves. Go to Bible Hub, go to Interlinear, and you'll find out it's not my friend. A friend is a companion. A friend is a roe, okay? That's like a shepherd, like a friend, okay? He didn't say that he was his friend in that context. He said that I'm the one that I'm loving. I'm loving him. You and I need to understand what this is really about, okay? So even judgment that's coming, it's about loving the descendants of Abraham. That's what this is about. It's about the one that he chose. He says, for I have taken you from the ends of the earth. Okay. So when is he going to come into his service? According to this, he says, who is the one who's calling him to be in his service? He's calling the one to be in his service when I have taken you from the ends of the earth. At this in particular point, Yisrael is his servant, but they're not in service. You won't go into service until he takes you and I from the ends of the earth and summon you from the most distant parts and say to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you, not rejected you. You see? So we have the idea that you and I are his servant, and we think that we're in service to him. He says, you are my servant. I'm calling you into my service, but I haven't called you into my service yet. When I summon you from the most distant parts and say to you, I have to say this to you, you are my servant. I have to tell you that. I'm going to tell you I have chosen you and not rejected you after I have taken you from the ends of the earth to be what? To be my servant. And this is the same chapter, few verses down from when he tells the coastlands to prepare for judgment. I want you to prepare for it because I'm going to introduce my servant to you. The word love, which he says that Abraham is the one that I'm loving. I'm loving him. The word for love is called ahav. Put that in your vocabulary. Ahav. 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 Or it could be A-H. Hav. Okay? Ahav. If I want to say I love you, what would I say?
Ani or habitat.
Yeah, Havata or Havati. Yeah, Havata. Thank you. Someone got it. If I say I loved, and that's in past tense, what I would say.
Ani.
Ahav, what?
T.
Ahav T. You loved. Ahav knew. You see? If you guys get your vocabulary down, you just put pieces on the end and you got it. Okay? That's how it is. This is a little quick Hebrew lesson. But let me tell you what love is, so we can get this in our understanding. The two letters that have to do with love out of our word ahav. Okay? Okay? Remember, there is no letter V in the Hebrew language. This is a pronunciation. It's really a B. Okay, so ahav. Okay, out of this in particular word, there is a root. And a root consists of 2 letters for a parent and 3 letters for a child root. So in our word ahav, we got to find out who the parent is and who the child is. Okay, so in this one, the child is the aleph. That's why it's and then hav. Okay, that's why he's the child. So if I take the child out, then I got the parent, and that's the parent. And that's what you have up here, the 2 letters, which is the hay and the bet. Somebody tell me what the hay represents in the agricultural sense. The hay, what does it mean?
A man with his hands raised.
Yes, it means to look. Okay.
Behold.
And what is the bet?
House,
The
tent,
house
dwelling.
or the tent or the dwelling. Okay. So put the look and then you look what? To the house. So that's what love is. So when the Creator says that I'm loving Abraham, I'm looking towards his house. And he's looking towards his house, which is his tent, as we talked about earlier this week. And when he has tent, did Abraham have 1 tent? How many tents did he have? How many tents did Abraham have? He had 318 servants. How many tents did he have? He had several wives and concubines. How many tents did he have?
A tent for each one of
He had a
them.
lot. He had a lot of towns. So his house is not consistent of 1 dwelling. His house is consistent of everything that belongs to him, like our father Yaakov. Each one of his wives had their own tent. but they were still part of his what? His house. So when we talk about the house and we talk about Yaakov and we talk about Yitzchak and we talk about Abraham, we're talking about not this singularity of a house, but everything that belongs to the house. That's the wives, that's the children, that's the servants, that's the male and the female, that's their children, that's the animals, that's the gold, that's the silver, everything that belongs to that family. So house is representative by family. I love the family of Abraham. I love Yitzchak. I love Yaakov. And I not only love them, but I love their Zerakah. And their Zerakah is their seed from Zerah. Seed. I love the seed of them. There's a certain type of seed that I love. I love them. Okay? That's what love is. And looking towards the house means not only just I have this emotional love, but I'm going to do things for the house. What are you going to do for your house, Dr. Yared? What you going to do in your house?
Protect it.
You're going to first and foremost protect your house against all outsiders. You're going to protect. You're also going to provide for everybody that's in your home. You understand? And also, too, you're not only going to protect, you're going to provide, but you're going to show some compassion because that's what goes in the tent. You're going to provide the food. Provision for the food means that I love you. I can't say I love anybody and there's no food in the house. I can't say I love you and I'm not protecting the house. So this idea what Yah is always telling his people is don't worry, I got you. What did he tell our father Yaakov? What did he say? I'm your Elohim. I'm the Elohim of your fathers. And he said, if you are my Elohim, then I want you to provide. What did he ask him to provide for him? Food, clothing, and what? Protection. And he said, I'll give you 1/10 of everything you give me. We went over this. That's what love is. So if you look at what has been spoken by the Creator to our fathers, it has been based upon love. He loves them, you know. So in the Greek language, there's 4 different types of love. They got 4 types of love. Okay, let me get this out the way. The first one they have, I don't know how to spell it, but it's called Stargate. Okay. And Stargate has to do with family love. Then he got another love that's called Eros, okay, which is sexual love, erotic. Then he got another love called Phileo, okay, Phileo. Then he got another love, which you get your city of Philadelphia from Phileo. Then he got this other one called Agape. You guys heard Agape, and you heard probably of Eros and Stargate, family love, and brotherly love. Phileo is brotherly love. So they got all these different types of loves. 4 types. Not in Hebrew. Not in Hebrew. This love of agape means that it's boundless. That means you could do anything and you don't pay no consequences. They want this love. They say we'll take agape over family love. We'll cut our family off for this love. Some people choose the Eros love and they think that's love. Some people think brotherly love is where it's at, but you can pick and choose who you would say who's your brother. According to the Creator, this is not his love. The love that you've been taught is not his love. His love is a Hav. And his love is very simple and plain, straight to the point. When we talk about the family, we're not talking about just those that are related to you in your house. You're talking about your brother, the other families of Abraham. That's what we're talking about. When you talk about, you know, is there sexual love included in Ahav? Well, he says if you have a wife, you cannot deny her her desires and her needs. And as a wife, you can't deny your husband because you're looking to the good of the house for the family. You see? So Ahav is where it's at. And that's what the Creator has given us. And he's given it to our fathers. In Davarim, he says, because he loved your ancestors. I looked towards their family. And chose their descendants after them and brought you out of Mizraim with his presence and great power. This is the reason why Yah has caused these things to happen. This is the reason why he does everything that he does. This is the reason why you and I know the Torah today, because Yahweh loves us. He's loved our fathers, and he's loved and chosen their descendants after them because he chose them. And what does it mean to be chosen? Especially because now we find out that we're his servant. To be chosen by the Creator means that you and I had to go through a process of examination. Yah is looking for the best. When they were to bring the tithes and offerings to him, he asked for the best. You understand? He's looking for the best. So this idea of being chosen was based upon examination. Yah didn't just arbitrarily choose the family of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov and their descendants after them. What's going on with us is not unknown to him. And it's going to blow your mind. Why would he choose a people like us? So put this feather in your cap and understand that the Most High has given an examination. And he's going to explain to us today why I chose you. But being chosen is examination. When they would, and also the word for chosen is this Hebrew word called bakar. B-A-C-H-A-R. Scratch these vowels out, and you got these letters left, which is a bet. You got the next one, which is a ket, and the next one, which is a resh. Okay? Bakar. And bakar has to do with this idea of the first fruits. Yah asked for the first fruits because it's supposed to be the best. It's supposed to be the strongest. It's supposed to be the ideal one to get. You see? It also has to do with this idea of being a youth, because that's what a bakor is. There's a bakar, and there's also a bakor, which put a little yod right here, which is B-A-C-H-O-R. That means the firstborn, which Yah asked for from every single living thing. Whether you're a plant, an animal, or a human being, Yah asked for the bakar, the first, the best, the strength. And it's all based upon examination. All because you're the firstborn doesn't mean, listen to me carefully, that you're going to be the best, that you're going to turn out to be the best. Doesn't mean that. Did we not find out in our Torah portion in chapter number 36, there was a man named Reuven? What did Reuven do? Who was he?
He was the son of Yaakov, the oldest one who slept with his concubine.
Yes. The firstborn of him that was chosen that turned out to be evil and wrong. Was not Esau the firstborn? Yes, he was. Is he the best selection? No, he wasn't. You see? So through this examination process, that's how choices are made, is through examination. And the examinations of our Father and ourselves come through trials. There's different characteristics that you can look at for a plant and an animal. You can look at an animal, you can see what's going on with them. You can see, if they're walking right, or, if one foot's longer than the other, or one hoof's a little bit swollen, and the other one, if they have a disease, you can see that. A plant, you can see it has some brown spots on it, or it doesn't look healthy. When you look at a human being, they can look perfectly good on the outside. Like David's son Absalom, a beautiful man, turned out to be wicked. You see? So for us, our examination is different than it is for anything else. Our examination is one that has to do with the internal part of us, which is what they would call our heart, but in Hebrew, it's our mind. And that examination can happen through trials. Our Father, or should I say fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, have all endured trials. You know what the trials of Abraham was. You know what the trials of Yitzhak was. And now through our Torah portions, we're finding out what our trials were for our father Yaakov. He had trials. And look who he had trials with. First and foremost, his brother Esau. He was afraid of him. His brother Esau wanted to kill him. His brother Esau was trying to do everything he could to destroy him. His Uncle Lavan, what did he do? He deceived him. What else did he do? He took advantage of him. What else did he do? He lied on him. What else did he do? He was different towards him. He was very indifferent towards him. He had trials within his own household. With who? With his wives. He was given a wife that he didn't even love. That's difficult, to be with somebody that you don't love. We don't see that part. We see what she went through, that she wasn't loved. But how could you love somebody that you were given that you didn't even want? How could you have that compassion for someone and that mercy? You have to develop that. He had the trials with his wives. The one that he loved couldn't bear kids. Those other women were forced upon him. He didn't ask for them. They were given to him. And we found out that one of us named Bilhah, she had a situation where she was trembling all the time. She was a shaky, person. These were not normal people. His son slept with one of his concubines, betrayed his father. His daughter raped, and it's going to continue on and on and on. So when you look at the life of Yaakov, it's full of trials. And it's through these trials that we're going through a process of examination. Yah had named him rightfully Yisrael, saying that you're persistent with me in spite of the difficulties, in spite of your sons. Not only Reuven, but your sons went and they did a mass murder and killed everybody in a city, enough to bring the whole nation, the whole cities against you. Yah had to intervene and put the fear of Elohim on those people so they wouldn't pursue his sons. His sons brought problems to him. And if you notice, it's about your family. It's about those who are in the camp. Yes, the camp is supposed to be a place of what you would call rest. It's supposed to be a place of refuge. But you and I see now that even those who are in your camp or in your family, in your household, that you're trying to love, can present you with challenges and difficulties. That's the selection process. Our ancestors were also put through some trials. Okay. We're told in Davarim that you are to remember everything of the way in which Yahweh led you these 40 years in the desert, humbling and testing you in order to know what was in your heart, your mind, whether you would obey his mitzvot or not. The trials in which they went through had to do with food. I'm going to hit your stomach because your stomach is your life in Hebrew. I want to know what you're going to do. I'm going to cause you to see if you don't get the type of food when you want it and your desires, your internal desires, I'm going to see whether or not you're going to keep my commandments. I'll use the Shabbat day like I did in Exodus chapter number 16 to find out whether or not you would keep my commandments. I told you to pick up the manna 6 days, and on the 6th day, you pick up a double portion. The 7th day, you don't go out and get nothing. Because I want to see if you're going to keep and obey my mitzvot. Go read it for yourselves, because I'm testing you. I'm going through a process of examination. Everybody that comes into the relationship with the Most High must be examined. And for us to think that you and I are going to walk up to him and live the kind of life that we want to live without no restraints and no discipline, and without this idea of being examined by him, you and I are sadly mistaken. We're being tested as we speak right now. The test is to find out whether or not you and I are going to be obedient. Is there obedience? Shaptim, meaning in Judges, these are the nations which Yahweh allowed to remain. Context here. Yah put a whole bunch of nations around the nation of Israel and let them stay there on purpose in order to test all the people of Israel who had not known any of the wars with the Canaan. They stayed there to test whether Israel would pay attention to the commandments of Yahweh, which through Moshe he had ordered their ancestors to obey. Obey the commandments. I'm going to find out whether or not you're going to obey. I'm going to let these people remain. I'm going to let these nations remain around you to test you. I want to know if you're going to obey me. If you obey me, that means you're going to serve me. And I'm going to show you something to show you how our Creator is. He tests us in several different ways. I didn't get a slide in here. He said, I'll send a prophet to you, or I'll send somebody with a dream, and it'll come true. Just so I can see whether or not to test you to see if you love me wholeheartedly with 100%. I'll send a false prophet to you. He'll turn water into wine. I'll send him. Covering chapter number 13, just to see if you're wholehearted with me. I'll leave a whole bunch of people around you on purpose that have other practices just to see if you're going to serve me. Listen carefully. What would be the test? Let me show you how he tests Israel. So the people of Israel lived among the Ka'anini, the Kiti, the Imri, the Perizi, the Kiwi, the Yevusi. And guess what they did? Taking their daughters as their wives and giving their own daughters to their sons and serving their gods. Thus the people of Israel did what was evil from Yahweh's perspective, from how he saw it in his eyes, and forgot Yahweh their Elohim and served the Balaim and Ashtarim. In our Torah portion this week, chapter number 34 tells us that this whole group of people, they were from the tribe and the peoples of the Kiwi. Kamor and Shechem, his son, were from this people. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to take their daughters, Israel's daughters, and we'll give you our daughters. We can all intermarry with one another. We can all become a cod. We can all become one. Our land will be yours, and we can trade with each other. But they had a whole nother agenda. When they went to go talk to their people, they said, hey, everything that they have, won't it become ours? Let's go ahead and do this circumcision so we can join ourselves to them, so what they have will become ours, which is deceptive. What did Yah tell the children of Israel? He told them in Deuteronomy chapter number 7 that you are to never make a covenant with none of these people, and you are to never show them any mercy. What happened in the book of Nehemiah and the book of Ezra? They married these people from other nations that Yah told them not to. He says, have not, this is what Yah said, to bring judgment on us. If you do this, it'll get us killed. Yah tells us that I don't want you with these people, and we say no. Don't you give your sons to them and your daughters to them. And don't you take their daughters to you, because their daughters will turn your sons against me. And they'll serve another God, and my anger will come down on you and burn up everybody. We don't want Yah as his servant to tell us what to do. We don't want him to tell us who you can and cannot marry. We don't want him to tell us what you can and cannot eat. We don't want him to tell us nothing. So that's why we go to these other gods, so we can serve them, so you and I can do what we want to do. And not what he has commanded the children of Israel. I'm testing you. And I'll put people in your midst to find out whether or not you're going to do what I say. I will surround you with your enemies. I sent you to the lands that I sent you to find out whether or not you would do what I say. I'll put you in an environment where I know it's difficult to find out if you'll persevere and you have some persistence to chase after me and hold on to what I said versus what somebody told you. I'm testing motives. I want to know what your motivation is. What's getting you? Yahweh Sabaoth, righteous judge. He's the tester of motives and thoughts. I want to know what makes you move. I'll put it right in front of you to find out whether or not you're going to serve me. I want to know whether or not you're going to be devoted to me. I want to know if you're going to give me your time. I want to know if you're going to give me your resources. I want to know. YHWH asked the question, why do the wicked prosper? Why do the treacherous all thrive? And that's the question that a lot of us have today. You see these people, they're wicked. They've turned away from the path of Yahweh, and it still looks like they're thriving and they're having the best life ever. You planted them and they took root. They grow, they bear fruit, they meaning having children. You're near in their mouths, though far from their hearts. That's the question. But Yahweh, you know me. You know me. And you see me. And you test my devotion. Drag them away like the sheep to be slaughtered and set them apart for the day of slaughter. That's from your prophet YHWH. Asking for Yah to see his devotion and test him to find out whether or not if he's wicked or not. How many of us have asked Yah to do this? To test. We can point the finger at the wicked all day long, but it's not until you and I are tested to find out what we're made of. We talked earlier this week about Shalem, about payment. Our father had to be paid for his services, paid for his work. He worked for 20-something years, 20 years. He got some wives and some kids and cattle and everything, but he would have never got paid if it was left in the hands of his uncle, his family. Yah paid him. But as a servant of the Most High, there is a payment. There is a reward. There is a time to be made whole. There is no shalom without no shalem. Okay. There is no peace without payment. Okay. Listen, you deaf, and look, you blind, so that you will see. Who is as blind as my servant? This is the Creator talking to us through the prophet YHWH and asking a question. Who? Who is this servant of mine is blind and as deaf as the messenger I send? Why would Yah pick a servant who's blind? Why would he pick someone that's deaf? Why would he sin? And our word sin right there is our Torah portion word called shalach. Why Yishlach? Why does Yah send us? Why would he send somebody that's blind and deaf? He asked the question, who is as blind as the one I rewarded, as the one I shalem? The word shalem there is reward, meaning the one who I made whole, who I'm going to make whole. So the idea of him saying that you're blind, you're only blind. He's not sinning. Listen, what he's going to do is I got to make the servant that's blind whole. That's why he asked, who is blind as my servant, or as deaf as the messenger I send? Who is as blind as the one, not that I've only rewarded, but the one that I made whole, the one I'm going to make whole? That's what I'm going to make whole. I'm only going to send somebody that's whole. I'm not sending nobody that's blind. This, in context right here, he's asking a question. What he's saying is, I know that my servant is blind right now, but I'm going to be the one who's going to make him whole. I'm going to take the one that's been blinded and the one that's been deaf, and I'm going to make them whole, because I have to send them somewhere. And where I'm going to send you is throughout the nations. His servant is not just an individual like Yaakov or the descendants of Abraham, of Reuven and Shimon and Levi, Yehuda. They're not just individuals. His servant is a people. His servant is a people. We're a people. But this is a people. Same chapter. Same chapter. This is a people that's blind. This is a people that's deaf. This is a people that's pillaged and plundered, all trapped in holes and sequestered in prisons. They are there to be plundered with no one to rescue them. I'm the one who's causing this. There to be pillaged. No one says, return them. You're asking who's going to help you? You're looking for someone to stand up and to return you to the Most High and return you out of your land of exile. Are you serious? I brought you here to be imprisoned. I brought you here to be plundered. I brought you here to be robbed. I brought you here for the trials, so I can develop you, so I can find out who will give heed, who will hear and give heed to the times to come. Who gave Yaakov to be pillaged? Yisrael to the plunderers? Who? Didn't Yahweh, against whom we have sinned, in whose ways they refuse to walk? He whose Torah they did not obey? That's the reason why. So when you look at the prison populations, you want to find out why they're there. It's because they would not obey the Torah. It's a people. These people are despised. This servant is despised. Here's what Yahweh, the Redeemer of Yisrael, his Kadosh one, Yah is our Kadosh one. This says to the one despised, the one is hated, whom the nations detest, the servant of tyrants. You say that you're my servant? You say that you're in service to me? You're collecting tithes and offerings from my people? And my people are servants of tyrants. My people are despised. And yet you got a group of people out here saying they have Yah's spirit and he's with them. But yet you're detested and you're despised and you're not made whole. You're blind and you're deaf. You can't serve Yahweh if you have any blindness whatsoever. None. You can't. But he says, when kings see you, after I call you into service, when these kings see this person, this servant who's been despised and detested and hated, the one who's been pillaged and plundered, the one who's been ran down, they're going to stand up, and princes too will prostrate themselves, because Yahweh, who is faithful, the Kadosh one of Israel, who has chosen you. These people don't know. They don't know who the servant of Yahweh is. All they know is this is a people who are plundered. All they know is this is a people that are despised and detested. That's all they know. They don't know who Yahweh's servant is. The Christians think that the Messiah, Yeshua, is the servant of the Most High. Wallo. Wallo. What letter is this?
The wall.
It's a wa, and wa means what?
And
And. Perfect. It's a conjunction. It's adding together. What does lo mean?
Never.
absolutely.
Never.
Absolutely.
Absolutely never. Listen to this. Wallo. Yes, well, why'd you put that there? I'm going to show you. Then Moshe summoned all Yisrael in Deuteronomy 29 and 2 through 4 and said to them, you saw everything Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Mizraim to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. The great testings, which you saw with your own eyes, and the signs and those great wonders. Nevertheless, meaning wallo, to this day, Yahweh has not given you a heart to understand, and eyes to see or ears to hear. There is something that is missing. When I say that you and I are blind, and I know we don't like to believe it, what I'm telling you is there's something that you and I can't see, and there's things that you and I can't hear yet. In the moment we accept this, then you and I will be prepared to be healed. I'm not going to heal you in the land of your enemies. That would make me a liar. There's wounds that you have. Why would I heal your wounds? And you can't serve me. I called your ancestors out of Mizraim and told Pharaoh to send my people Shalach away so that they can come and serve me. You're not going to serve me in your filth. You're not going to serve me in a land where there's transgenders and homosexuals. You're not going to serve me in a land where they steal and rob and pillage people. You're not going to serve me in a land that you have nothing to give me. I will not, shall not, and cannot give you my spirit while you're in a state of uncleanness and impurity. Stop going around telling people that I am with you. I haven't forgotten about you, but you and I are not together. I have to do something called Kadash. Not Kodesh, not Quadash, but Kadash. And Kadash means to be renewed. I have to renew you. For I will take you from among the nations and gather you from all the countries and return you to your own soil that belongs to you and your family and your fathers and your mothers. That's what I promised you. Then I will sprinkle clean water on you and you will be clean. I will cleanse you from all your uncleanness and from all your idols. The ones that you've been speaking out of your mouth and you said, I don't care how many years ago you said it, you still spoke the name of another God as if he existed and he does not. And I have to cleanse you from that. You have declared this name in front of the heavens and you think I'm going to forget about it? All the Malachim have heard what you said. All creation has heard what you said. You made a declaration out of your mouth. It said something that wasn't true against me. And you think that I'm going to give you my spirit? I have to cleanse you. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit inside of you. I'll give you a new mind. I'll give you a Kodosh mind. I'll take that stony heart out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I'll make your heart more palatable. I'll make it like some clay that I can write my name down in. I will put my spirit inside of you and cause you to live by my kukim and respect my mishpatim and obey them. I will be the one to cause you to do this in the land that I gave to your fathers. But you have to go through the process. I've examined you. I know you. You don't know yourselves. I know you. Everything that the Creator has spoken in this prophecy right here, everyone, this I will 6 or 7 times. He speaks it in a perfect form. He speaks it as a na'um. He makes a declaration before the heavens and the earth as if it has already happened. When he spoke this, he said it was already done. You and I are just living in the process of time to get this to the place where we need to be. This is perfectly done. Perfect. When a speaker speaks in the Hebrew language, the speaker can speak of something that's going to happen in the future as if it has already happened perfectly. So when he says, I will, that's not in the future tense in his mind. He only wrote it so you and I can understand it. The words that he spoke to Yirmiyahu was not for Yirmiyahu and for those people. It was for us. It's for the ones that he said that I perfectly know what I'm going to do with you. You. I know what I'm going to do with you. This is not a religion for you and I. This is serious business. And the question is, who? Me. Hebrew, me means who. It's an interrogative. I need to find out who. Who is my servant? Who is it? A Navi is a prophet. Okay. And a Navi, okay, a Nabi, that'll be pronounced as a V sound because it's not the first letter in the word, but a Navi is someone, if you look at this word prophet, YHWH, that noon right there, and there's a bet. A noon is a seed, and a bet is inside, like a house, a tent. Just like when you got the letter bet, you got the little dot, it means inside. Okay, the I on it means my. Okay, so it is my seed that's inside or within. So every time Yah speaks from a prophet or telling a prophet something, he's hiding a seed inside somewhere in order for it to be hidden. And then once it starts to grow, it will then come out and it'll sprout out of the ground and you'll be able to see what it is and make sure that it came to pass. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to screenshot the salvation of this prophet, not YHWH. Because what you're going to find is when I say me, I'm talking about all the different places that he calls Yisrael his servant. Chapter number 41, verses 8 through 9. Chapter 44, verse number 1. Chapter 44, verse 21. 45, 4. 48 and 20. 49 and 3. So by the time you get to your favorite in 53, where he says, you know, the suffering servant of chapter number 41, 44, 45, 48, and 49 is the one that's pointing to this suffering servant of 53. which I didn't have time to do because it's a lot. We are the servant of Yahweh. When you can be persistent as our father Yisrael, you are not Yisrael if you don't do that. You're still Yaakov. That's why he speaks of Yaakov and Yisrael, Yaakov, Yisrael. You understand? And Tephilim, or Tehillim, excuse me. He spoke. Then he gave their land as an heritage. His grace continues forever. I love this because not only does it tell you who his servant is, which is Yisrael, but it continues to tell you that his grace continues forever. His grace continues forever. His grace continues forever. His grace continues forever. That grace right there is the word that we went over called Khan. From our word, Canaan. From our word, Makane, which means a camp, meaning to camp with tents, which means families. You understand? So now he tells us that his grace continues forever. The land will be possessed. The land will be possessed. This inheritance, this heritage will be possessed by his servant, Yisrael, the ones who are persistent with Yah in spite of difficulty. The one who prevails over man that's the one who's going to receive the inheritance, the heritage, which is the land. His Khan continues forever. We found out that that is beauty. We found out that that is mercy. We found out that this week that was compassion. That's what we found out. It says, who remembers us? Who remembers us? Who's me? Who remembers us? Yahweh does. Whenever we are brought low, for his grace, Khan, continues forever. He rescues us. He not only remembers us, but he rescues us from our enemies. His grace continues forever. Who provides food for every living creature. His grace continues forever, as if we're inside of his camp. Give thanks to the Elohim of the Shamayim, for his grace continues forever. He not only feeds us, but he feeds every living creature. Even if that is a fly on the wall, he feeds it. Can you and I do that? No. The prophet Yeremiyahu, the Navi, the seed that's hidden and within inside, says this: don't be afraid, Yaakov, my servant, says Yahweh, or be alarmed, Yisrael. He mentions this about don't be afraid, because our father was walking around in fear all the time. Fear. His brother wanted to kill him. Fear. His uncle's going to take advantage of him and never let him go. Fear. Do you understand? His sons just got the whole city, all the cities around them. They're going to have to he's going to be killed. He was scared his whole house was going to be destroyed because of what his sons did. He's walking around in fear. That was shared with us for you and I to get an understanding that something's coming. Yah's not telling you, so don't be afraid for no reason. He's telling you, don't be afraid because you're going to see something. Yisrael, for I will return you from far away, and your offspring from their country of exile. Yaakov will again be quiet and be at rest. As we talked about earlier this week, that is the goal. Now we see that Yah says, I've taken upon you as my servant to bring you to what they would call not just only shalom, but I want to bring you to Noah. I wanted to bring you to rest because I've been guiding you this whole time through your life to bring you to rest as my servant. I've examined you. I've tried you. I've tested you. I've given you an opportunity to prove yourself. And now I want to bring you to your rest. So no one will make you afraid, because it's somebody else is going to make you afraid. It's your brother Esau. He's been trying to kill you since day one. It's your enemies that I have to take you from their lands. You're not in a place that people love you. You're in a place that people detest you and despise you. I got to take you from there. I have to save you, for I am with you to save you. And this is in context about him saying what I'm going to do for you. I got to gather you and take you and return you from far away. I have to be the one to save you, says Yahweh. Your Christ character has never done this for you. I will finish off all the nations where I have scattered you. I'm going to put them to a complete end. And that's why I'm telling you, don't be afraid. The earth is going to shake. The sun and the moon and the stars are going to fall. And there's going to be a light that's going to raise upon you that you've never seen. However, I will not finish off, but I will discipline you only as you deserve. I'm only going to give you what you deserve, and that's what you've been getting. I've never gone past what you deserved. You're getting what you deserve. I will not completely destroy you. In context here, he's saying that some of you will be destroyed. Some of you will be destroyed. YHWH, whose name means to rise. Yah tells us, yet don't be afraid. Again, he says it again. Don't be afraid, Yaakov, my servant. Don't be distressed, Israel, because that's been, like I said, the mental attitude for us as a people and as our Father. For I will save you from faraway places, your offspring from the lands where they are held captive. So people telling me that you're saved right now, you're telling me that you're not held captive, you're telling me that you're not a slave to tyrants, you're telling me that you don't understand your situation. Yaakov will return and be at peace, which is shalom, and quiet, knock, and no one will make him afraid. Don't be afraid, Yaakov, my servant, says Yahweh, for I am with you. I will finish off all the nations where I have scattered you. However, you I will not finish off. I will discipline you as you deserve, but not completely destroy you. Same text, two different places in the book of YHWH. So the idea here is that you're afraid. You're afraid of what the future is going to be. You're afraid, but I'm going to save you. Fear was a big part of our Torah portion, and fear is a big part of our life today. And it's not going to serve us well. Y'all saying, I got you. I got you. I got you. You belong to me. I'm going to have to speed it up here and realize how many slides I had there. That was the who. Now we're talking about what, where, and why. Whew. Listen to this. House of Yaakov, called by the name of Israel, who have come from the springs of Yehuda, and who swear by the name of Yahweh and invoke the Elohim of Israel. It is not in truth or in righteousness. Meaning that what type of servant that Yah has had? He's had a person who is not called upon his name in truth or righteousness. We haven't been these people. We haven't done anything in truth. We've been called on his name as a community. He's giving not only them, but us a warning. Listen, you call upon my name, you're going to have to match that with truth. and you have to match that with righteousness. It has to do with your character. Yah knows who we are. He knows what our character is. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not directing this to anybody on this class. I'm talking about us as a people. Yah's telling us how he sees his nation. Because I knew that you were stubborn. Your neck and iron sinew. Your forehead is bronze. That's your character. Before you even came out the womb, I knew who you are. No, you haven't heard and you haven't known these things and have not reached your ears before. For I knew how treacherous you were. I know your character. I know you're treacherous. I know you were called a rebel from the womb. I know who you are. I know that you're sinful. I know. I need the heavens to hear heaven and listen earth. For Yahweh is speaking. I've raised and brought up children. They have rebelled against me. An ox knows his owner, and his donkey its master's stall, but Israel does not know. My people do not reflect. O sinful nation, a people weighed down by iniquity, a people weighed down by iniquity, descendants of evildoers, immoral children. They have abandoned Yahweh, spurned the set apart one of Israel, and turned their backs on him. But if we want to give our ancestors, and we want to say that our parents were so wonderful. They loved us, they fed, they took care of us, they put up Christmas trees and everything. Yah says, you are descendants of evildoers. You're a descendant of an evildoer. I don't care how nice they were against me. If you don't like that, then you're going to have to deal with it. They came from evildoers. Your parents and my parents and grandparents came from people who turned their back on Yah. If you don't want to accept that, then I don't know what to tell you. It's the truth. Is he saying this to hurt our feelings? No, I'm telling you this because this was the examination. You have to know where you come from. You have to know what the roots are. You have to know what happened so you can make the adjustments. They're not only a sinful people, they're not only a rebellious people, they're not only that, but they're foolish. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are just. Talking about Yahweh, a trustworthy Elohim who does no wrong. He is righteous and straight. He's not corrupt. There's no corruption in Yah. The defect is in his children. A crooked and perverted generation. You foolish people. So lacking in wisdom. Is this how you repay Shalem Yahweh? He is your father who made you his. It was he who formed you and prepared you. This is in the song that Yah told Moshe to make sure the children of Israel memorized. He said, this song will be a testimony against you. These are his words to tell them that this is who you guys are. You want to blame me for your situation? You need to look at your ancestors. You need to look at your ancestors. You don't need to look at me. You need to look at the treacherous people. You need to look at the rebels. You need to apologize on their behalf since you came from them. Well, I didn't do it. Well, guess what? You came from them. And I told you that's what you need to do. So you can understand what they did. And so you won't do it. Like I told you before in the wilderness, I told you don't be like your mother and your father and your ancestors. Don't follow their ways. Don't follow their mishpatim and their kukim because they decided to tell you what they thought versus what I said. I told you what it is. I know your character. I know what type of servant you have been. But I also know something else. I know where I want you to be. I want you to comfort and keep comforting my people, says your Elohim. I need you to tell Yisrael, Yerushalayim, to take heart and proclaim to her that she has completed her time of service. that her guilt has been paid off, shalem, that she has received at the hand of Yahweh double for her sins. I want you to comfort my people. I want you to let them know that they should take joy in me. I want them to break out into joy and sing together, you ruins of Yerushalayim. For Yahweh has comforted his people. He's telling the city to prepare because he's comforted his people. He has redeemed Yerushalayim. Yahweh has bared his set apart arm in the sight of every nation. Now, the word set apart is missing. I want to get you to understand what this set apart arm is. The set apart arm that the Christians tried to take hold of and say that Christ of the New Testament was his arm. The set apart arm that Yahweh has is an arm of strength that he's going to use to take us from all the places that we've been scattered. And in context, this is why he keeps saying he has comforted his people, because he's going to use the set apart arm in the sight of every nation. And what he did before is in Mitzrayim, he used the set apart arm, okay, to remove us from Mitzrayim. And he says, I'm going to do this in the sight of every nation, and all the ends of the earth will see the salvation of your Elohim. So the set apart arm, okay, has to do with salvation. It's his salvation. It's his strength. And when he brings salvation to us, we will be comforted. That's why he says, Yerushalayim, everything's done. Shalem, it's been paid. All the crimes that has been committed in you has been paid off. All the crimes that they have committed, they have been paid off by sending them into exile in Leviticus chapter number 26. I know what it is, okay? But there's also going to be a cry. There's a cry. There's a voice that's crying out, clear a road through the desert for Yahweh. In context, level a highway in Arava for our Elohim. Let every valley be filled in. Let every mountain and hill lowered, and the bumpy places made level, and the crags become a plain. Then the glory of Yahweh will be revealed. All humankind together will see it, for the mouth of Yahweh has spoken. This idea of clearing a road in the desert for Yahweh and leveling it, he's going to fill it in when he comes. So all the valleys are not going to be valleys anymore. They're not going to be valleys. Valley is the in-between two mountains. Right here. Here's a valley right here. He's going to fill this in to make the place straight. So what he's talking about is there's going to be a cataclysmic event that's going to cause the valleys to be filled in, and every mountain that's high is going to be lowered. I'm going to make every mountain fall low, because when Yahweh appears, every mountain, everything that is lifted or that has been raised up, everything that's lifted or that is raised high is going to be brought low. And that includes everyone, not only mountains, not only, hills, but also to people who have lifted themselves up. They will be brought down low. That's why he says for us not to be prideful, because the people that are up high are going to be brought low. I'm going to bring everybody low because Yahweh is going to appear. Okay. And he says when the glory of Yahweh will be revealed. So I want to tell you a little bit about the glory of Yahweh so you can understand what the glory of Yahweh is, because this is the goal. Remember, I told you in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 40 is the beginning of those servant songs. So here in this in particular chapter begins when Yah is telling them the whole world is going to see my glory. And in context, when he brings this time of this cataclysmic event, it has to do with the salvation of his people. It's going to be a big world event, worldwide, global. Like it was, it's going to be greater than what it was for Mitzrayim. He said it's not going to be like it was in the days of Mitzrayim. It's going to be completely different. Okay, so let me tell you what that glory is. The people of Israel, the glory of Yahweh looked like, to the people of Israel, the glory of Yahweh looked like a raging fire. That's what his glory, that's what all humanity is going to see. They're going to see a raging fire. Okay. It's not going to be, a whole bunch of different colors and, gems and, it's going to be fire. That's what the people of Israel saw. So when he talks about bringing his glory and all humanity is going to see this glory, he's talking about they're going to see the glory of Yahweh will be revealed to all humankind together. Okay. For Yahweh has spoken. In Zion, I'm going to bring my justice near. It is not far away. In context, still going back into those songs of the servant, my salvation. That's why it's mentioned in the book of YHWH, because YHWH means the salvation of Yahweh will not be delayed. I will place my salvation in Zion and for Israel, my glory. Sister Azania, you asked a question like, well, I thought, the sun is going to be gone and everything. That glory is that fire, the fire that's going to be over us after he finished doing what he's going to do. He's going to leave his glory over Zion like he did when Israel was traveling. Remember the cloud? And he had a what? A pillar of what? Of fire that abode over the top of Israel. So this is what's going to happen. He's not going to disappear. Remember, with us, he traveled and he was traveling with us alone. And we saw that fire and we saw that cloud. So what he's saying is, my salvation will not be delayed. I will place my salvation in Zion for Yisrael, my glory. Okay, that's what it is. My glory will be over Zion. And everybody that sees this fire will know that he's with them. It's going to be a supernatural thing. It's going to be a wonder. That's what it's going to be. And then everybody will know that's Elohim. Remember, he says, which one of us has ever seen such a great fire and stayed alive? But now we know that Yah does speak with humanity. Yeah. You see? So the justice, the righteousness that Yah is bringing is going to bring about the salvation for his people. He's going to bring the blessing. The house of Yehuda, the house of Israel, just you, as you were formerly a curse among the nations. Right? So now I will save you and you will be a blessing. That blessing right there, when he talks about being a blessing, you were a curse among the nations. You were not a curse to them. You were a curse among them. Now you will be a blessing among them. Now they're going to bend the knee to you. Now they're going to bring a gift to you on a bended knees. That's blessing. That's how, all the nations will be blessing. They're all going to come and bring gifts to you on bended knees because I've blessed you. That's why I told you, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You think I forgot about you? I haven't forgotten about you. For Yahweh Zavav says, just as I resolved to do you harm, because I did, when your forefathers provoked me, the evildoers that I just told you about, Yahweh Zavav says, and I did not relent from doing that harm to you. So now I resolve to do good to Yerushalayim and to the house of Yehuda. Don't be afraid. I'm going to do good to you. Don't be afraid. I'm taking you from your shame. Don't be afraid. I got something for you. I haven't forgotten about you, Israel. You see? That's where it's going to happen. It's going to happen in Zion. And it's going to happen in Yerushalayim, because that's the place where it is. Finally, why? Why? Why has Yah decided to call these people? Why? What's the intention? What's the purpose? What's the reason? Listen what he says. But now this is what Yahweh says. Who created you? Yaakov. He formed you, Yisrael. Don't be afraid. See? For I have redeemed you. I am calling you by your name. You are mine. I'm calling you by your Shemka. I'm calling you by your character. You are mine. That's who you are. I created you. That's why. I called you. So I created you to call you to me, to be my servant. Why? To gather you. I've done all I've done to you because I love you. I want to gather you because I regard you as valued. That's why. And honored. And because I love you. I love you. I tell you the truth. There's only righteousness and justice in me. The problem is with you all. The problem is not with me. For you, I will give people, nations in exchange for your life. I'm killing a lot of people for you, like I did before. I've given nations to you. I've killed over 32 kings in the book of Joshua. I've killed King Bela. I've killed King Og. I've killed King Bashan. I've killed Balaam. I've killed a lot of people for you. I've destroyed nations for you in exchange for your life. I've destroyed the firstborn of the land of Mizraim for you. And I'm going to kill more people for you. Because to me, they're nothing but a drop in the bucket. But I love you. I love you. Don't be afraid. If you hear the theme that Yah is saying to us, don't be afraid, for I am with you. When? If you look in Isaiah 43, you know, in chapter 41, he begins to say, who am I calling into service? 43 is telling the servant what his intention is for him after he calls him into his service. So let's keep it in proper context. I am with you when what? On that day of salvation. I will bring your descendants from the east. When? On that day of salvation. I will gather you from the west. When? On that day of salvation. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, don't hold them back, and bring my sons from afar away and my daughters from the ends of the earth. When? On the day of salvation. Everyone who bears my name, that's why, whom I created for my glory. I created them for my glory. My glory. And the glory there is for my beauty. There's more than one word for glory. It's beauty. Okay. So I formed him. Yes, I made him. So you can see how you could go from the singular to the plural. I call them my sons and my daughters. I said, I formed him. Him meaning Yaakov. I made him. Ooh, Yisrael. For what? For my glory. To have my glory over them for the beauty of what I'm going to do. I've used you. I've chosen you. Why? So the Goyim. Because I want the Goyim to know something. Bring forward the people who are blind, as I've told you, who is blind is my servant, but who have eyes, and also the deaf who have ears, the people. All the nations are gathered together and all the peoples are assembled, because I told them in chapter number 41 that we started our study with to gather together for judgment. Who among them can proclaim this and reveal what has happened in the past? I'm talking to the Goyim. Let them bring their witnesses to justify themselves. When? On the day of judgment. So that others on hearing can say, that's true. So when I come to gather my people, my sons and my daughters, as you just saw in chapter number 43, that's 8, 9. This is 43, 4 through 7, continuing the process. He's speaking to the nations and telling them, I want you to bring forth your witnesses now. I want you to justify yourselves. For what? Why are you asking me to bring witnesses? Why are you asking me to gather for judgment? Why are you asking me to proclaim this? Why? Because what's interesting here is I want to find out of the Goyim, out of the nations, is there anyone there that can reveal and proclaim what has happened in the past? Somebody tell me what happened at the past in Mount Sinai.
Was the golden calf there? No.
What did the children of Israel receive on Mount Sinai?
Oh, I'm sorry.
fire.
The fire of the Torah. They saw the fire with their eyes. And Moshe said, from you seeing this, I'm declaring to you that there is no other Elohim. By this you shall know that he is Elohim. By this very thing, you should know this. So I'm calling and I'm asking the nations to come and testify and bring your witnesses to tell me if there is somebody else. Tell me. Bring your witnesses, Goyim. None of you are going to bring any witnesses because you're all liars. Yahweh, my strength, my fortress, my refuge in a time of trouble. The nations will come to you from the ends of the earth saying, our ancestors inherited nothing but lies. Feudal idols, completely useless. If that's what they're going to testify to, then what is the things that our people today are listening to? What are people listening to from the nations? What are they going to be doing this next week and a week after? They're hitting a lie after lie after lie after lie. And this is the reason why Yah is bringing them to judgment. Tell them to gather together and bring your witnesses and say, well, this is true. If there's other gods, but your ancestors have inherited nothing but lies and idols, completely useless. Can a person make himself gods? In fact, they aren't gods at all. They don't even exist, everyone. Therefore, I will make them know once and for all. I will make them know my power and my might. When? On the day of judgment. Then they will know that my name is Yahweh, and there is no other. So they have witnesses, and they've been witnessing nothing but lies. But who are the true witnesses? The true witness is his servant. You are my witnesses, said Yahweh, and my servant whom I have what? Chosen. I've examined you so that you can know and trust and understand that I am he. No God was produced before me, nor will there be, nor will any be after me. Yes, I am Yahweh. Besides me, there is no deliverer. I have declared and saved and proclaimed, and not some alien God among you. Therefore, you are my witnesses, says Yahweh. I am Elohim. This is important for us to understand a few things. Number one, that a witness is someone who has an odd. An odd in Hebrew, that's what it'd be called, an odd. Okay, an odd is an ayin and a dalet. And an ayin means to see, and the dalet is the door. So you see the door. Okay, and what were we supposed to see? The door of the tent, and in this case, it's the door of the tabernacle. So every time that you decide that you want to keep what Yah says, what you're doing is you're looking towards Yah's dwelling place. Okay. You're looking between the door, and in this tent was a golden box back here, and there was a curtain, but in this box was the 10 words, which are called the aduth. Okay. The aduth is an ayin, a dalet, and a tav, and a wa, excuse me, right here. Let me write a little bit better. I'm going to explain this a little bit better than what I just did because it's very important. So I'm going to erase all the stuff I did. And I'm going to be nice and I'm going to do it perfectly. I'm going to slow my roll. Okay. So a witness is called an odd. Okay. That means witness right here. Okay. This means eye, and this means a door. Okay. And the eye to the door, meaning you see, okay, on a repeated basis, that means to do over and over again. Okay. This word also means to repeat. Okay. Repeat over and over again. So your eye to the door, you're always looking towards the door. The door has to do with the tent door. Okay. which we have here, which is, I'm going to say, tabernacle. Okay. In the tabernacle, there was a gold box called the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark of the Covenant is a what they would call, Yah calls it an ad duth. Okay. The AD right here is the aleph, the ayin and the dalet. So the word witness is in this. It's in this word aduth. Okay. So ayin, a dalet, a wa, and a tav, and it's called aduth. So we see our root for witness right here. It's the same as right here, which is a witness. Okay. It means to do over and over again. It means to look towards the door, because that's what you do with your eyes. You look towards the door, and the door that you're looking towards is the door of the tabernacle. And you're doing it again and again and again and again, because inside of there was the Ark of the Covenant, that, and the aduth in Hebrew is called testimonies. So when we talk about the 10 words, okay, we're talking about Yahweh's testimonies, and his testimonies are the things that you and I gave. We gave what to? We gave witness to. We saw it. Our ancestors saw it. So he's saying that every time you give witness to what I'm saying, you become my witnesses. Every time you come to my door to see what I said in the Ark of the Covenant, you'll be my witnesses. In that box was not only the 10 words, but on the side of the box was written a complete Torah, which included my judgments. I spelled that wrong. My judgments were in my Torah. My moedims, which my appointed times, are inside of my Torah. My kukim, which are my my decrees. Okay, there's Hebrew words for this called mishpatim, moedim, appointed times, and decrees, kukim. So all that is part of that, which the Torah is the instructions. So I gave you instructions on what you should do. That's what's inside of the Torah. The Torah is directly put on the side of the testimonies. Okay, so when I tell you that you need to come and see me, okay, you would know there's certain times during the year that you had to come see me because the Moedim was appointed times. You'd also understand that what I said, there's a judgment for you not doing the things the way that I told you, the regulations. You would also understand that you need to come and have, the Shabbat to come and worship me. And you would also know that inside of this box or on the side of it, you would get the instructions on how to eat and so forth and so on. So every time you do this, every time you go to this tent that I put up, right, that I told you about, right, to remind you, right, I'm letting you know that you're my witnesses, because you're the only people I've ever spoken to. You're the only people I've ever shown my glory to. You're the only people who have ever known me intimately. I don't have a slide for it, but it's in Amos chapter number 3. You're the only people that I know. I don't know anybody else. You're the only people I've ever given my commandments to. Okay, which is part over here too. Those are my commands, which call my mitzvah. Okay, so I've given you my commandments, my judgments, my statutes. So because you right now are my witnesses, right? So when I'm speaking right here to the nations and I'm telling them that you are my witnesses, says Yahweh, my servant in whom I have chosen, the one who are my witnesses are the ones who are doing what I say. They're repeatedly going to the door of the tabernacle. They're always looking at what I said. That's my witness. That's my servant. That's the one that I chose. See, so that you can know and trust me and understand that I am he, right? No God was produced before me. And what I mean by that is there are no other words that I have spoken, and no one else, anybody else who speaks any other words to you besides what I said is another God. That's why you shouldn't listen to anyone else. You should listen to what I said, because I told you in Deuteronomy 30 that you would go back and do every word that I told you exactly what I said. Okay. So yes, I am Yahweh. I'm the one who brought you out of the land of Mizraim. And besides me, there is no deliverer. There is no other savior. So you're looking for a savior. You're looking for a Messiah. No. There is no other savior. There is no one who's going to deliver you out of your problems. There is no one who's going to deliver Yaakov out of his problems except for me. Like I'm the one he prayed to when he got in trouble with his brother. I'm the one that he prayed to when he had problems with Uncle Lavan. I saw his situation. No one else. Me. I've declared it and I saved and I proclaimed. I've done this before. Don't get confused. And because of this, because we've had this relationship, because I'm looking towards the family that I currently love, I don't want you to get it messed up. That's why I'm saying that you are my witnesses. I'm not looking for the nations to give testimony and witness to me because they never did. I never spoken to them. So why would I call them my witnesses? Because they say they're Jehovah Witnesses and they're running around from door to door. So now they're my witnesses? No, they're not my witnesses. You're my witnesses. If you do what I say, you hold on to what I said. Yah has done this for the purpose of praise. Why? For praise. Animals will honor me, the jackals, the ostriches, because I put water in the desert. So when that cataclysmic happens and I fill in the valleys and I knock the hills down, I'm also going to put some water in some areas that we never had water before. Like I open up the Red Sea for you and I held back the Jordan River so you can cross over it dry. I'm going to make this happen for you too. For my chosen people to drink the water the people I formed for myself. My intention, I formed you for myself so that they would proclaim my praise. They would forever tell people about what I did for them. So my story with you doesn't stop with what happened in Mitzrayim. It's never going to stop. That's why your numbers are going to be as the stars and as the sand and the dust of the earth. Because my goal and my desire is to always have a descendant from that family to praise me. And as insignificant as you are in your life, you only have your significance when you're following me. But he says, you haven't called on me. You haven't called on me, Yaakov, because you have grown weary of me, Yisrael. What do you mean? We haven't called on you. We've been weary of you. What do you mean? We haven't been able to come to Yah with the right type of mindset. We haven't come to him in a time of our greatest need. We need to pray like our Father prayed. There's a purpose. It's not only for praise, but it's also for beauty. He said to me, you are my servant, Yisrael, through whom I will show my glory. The glory is like fire. I'm going to show when I take you from the nations that I've scattered you, I'm going to show the power. I'm going to show the earth who's in charge. I'm going to show them that they had it all wrong. That's why the kings are going to bow down and the princes too when they see that I chose you. Context, Isaiah 49 right here. Still talking about that servant. And this is after he's called us into service and bringing you back. When I bring you back, then they're going to see my glory. Not only praise, not only glory, not only beauty, but strength. So now Yahweh says, he formed me, Isaiah 49. He formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring Yaakov back to him. So number one, form me in the womb. Two, bring Yaakov back to him. That's why he did this. That's why he did this. And to have Yisrael gather to him. That's why. So that I will be honored in the sight of Yahweh, my Elohim, having become my strength. Yahweh will become the strength of Yaakov when he is ready to perform his service. He will no longer depend upon his own strength. He would only be able to do this when he prevails over man. And the only way he can prevail over man is through Yahweh. The only way he can prevail over himself is through Yahweh. So for strength, for glory, for praise, for honor, and for light. Why? He said, it is not enough that you are merely my servant. I only want to do that, and only to raise up the tribe of Yaakov. I've done that. I also restore the offspring of Israel. I want to do more than that. I also want to make you a light. That's what I want to make you a light to the nations. So my salvation can spread to the ends of the earth. My salvation, what I've done for you, I want to make you a fire. That's what I want to do. So you can bring light to the nations. So they would come out of their darkness of this misunderstanding about who is who. They won't get it twisted anymore. They'll know, like, this is Elohim's people and for a covenant. Here's what Yahweh says. At the time when I choose, I will answer you on the day of salvation. Same chapter. I will help you. On what day? On the day of salvation. On the day what? When I choose. That's when you're going to service. I have preserved you, and I have appointed you to be a covenant for a people. That's what I want you to be. To restore the land and distribute again its ruined inheritances to their owners. To say to the prisoners, come out, and to those in darkness, show yourselves. They will feed, meaning eat, along the paths, and all the high hills will be their pastures. For a covenant. This is who the servant of Elohim is. In conclusion, I'd like to thank you today for your time. I hope you were able to gain some understanding, to understand that at this time, you and I are not in service to Yah. It'd be disgraceful for us to go around and tell people that we're in service. We are his servant, but we're blind. And you can't serve Yah in partial blindness. You can't serve him in uncleanness. You can't serve him in that capacity. And he won't accept it. And you should not want to serve Yah in that position. But he sent us here to find out who is going to do what I asked him to do. Who is going to give testimony and witness to me? By you and I following the Shabbat, and by us following the Torah, and by us studying and following the language and doing what he asked us to do, you're giving evidence, empirical evidence, to the fact that he is the only true and living Elohim. That's what you're doing. You're getting yourself prepared. And he tells us, as he said so many times today, as they said in the Torah portion, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. What's next? Better Sheaf, chapter number 37 through chapter number 40. And Amos, chapter 2, verse number 6 through chapter number 3, verse number 8. And I believe you will be able to find that he says, you're the only one I've ever known. All praise, all appreciation, all gratitude is given to the living Elohim. Anyone have any questions, any concerns, any remarks, contributions?
I did actually. I wanted to know more how you came to Yahweh instead of Yahweh.
Oh, okay. So let me show you right quick. That's an excellent question, Lucas. So let me show. I said, oh, there's your hand, Akoti. I'm so sorry. Lasagna, I do see when I'm in that mode where I can't see anything. I just got the screen up. I don't see any hands or anything. So let me see right quick. Let me. Here. All right.
That may be beyond my abilities at the moment.
Okay. Can you see my screen, everyone? Or no, yes or no?
Yep.
Okay, so let me show you. All right, so the question is, how do you go from Yahweh to Yahweh, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at his name. And I'll find his name right here, right quick. Chapter number. for is okay, let's just go right here. Use his name right here. All right, here you go. All right, so if you see my screen, what we have, oh, that's not working. Here we go. All right, here's a vowel, okay? This is what they call a vocal schwa, okay? So this vowel right here, it's called a quamates. Some people call it a kamats. I'm writing with my finger, forgive me, because my pen is not working. It's called a quamates. Oh. K-E-K-A-M-E-T-Z. Okay. That's the name of this vowel. Okay. Usually supposed to be with a, some people use the Q, which is a quamates. Okay. So in Hebrew, this in particular vowel sound is a long ah sound. Okay. So when we say this, we say ya, and here, that's this right here together. And then we have wa. In Hebrew, there is no letter V. You can see right here is W, so they have rendered it correctly. The ancient biblical Hebrew is that which is called a wa, and it's a W, okay? I don't know why they put here Yahweh, okay? But let's prove it. So you see this mark, I want you to remember this sign, this symbol right here, okay? So I can tell you that, but I want to prove it to you because I don't like to say stuff that I can't prove or bring up evidence to the fact. So let's go right here. It's called a quamates. Quamates, okay. All right. Yeah. Quamates. All right. All right. So I brought you here right quick just to show you. It is right here. Here it is. Okay. I got some of my Hebrew students on here. How do you say this?
Dog.
Yeah, dog. Okay, so here's the example right here, Lucas. So they tell us here's the transliteration. It's transliterated from a, this actual mark to an A sound, A vowel. But here's the English approximation. It says, how do you say that word?
Spa.
Spa, and it has the same sound as the pathak, okay, or patak, which is ah. So one is a long one, one's a short one, but the point is that when you have the yod, and then you had a hey, and then you had a wa, right? And you put that underneath here. So really, if we transliterate, that'd be a W, A sound, and an H. So that's why I say Yahweh. See? That's why I say Yahweh. Okay? Yahweh. That's how I came up with that. So I think from a Western standpoint, from their mindset, when they wrote it, like a lot of things you will find in the Bible Hub, they actually do mistranslate some things. And sometimes I think it's purposeful, just for the sake of Christology. And sometimes I think just make a simple mistake. But his name is Yahweh. That is a wa right there, and that is a ah sound. If it was a, it would be 3 dots, you know, or it'd be 2 dots for a long e sound, but it's not. It's ah. Lasagna, I see your hand up.
Shabbat shalom again, brother. You know what? I sent to your inbox, your messenger box, because you were talking about Yahuwah's glory and the fire. And my husband got some pics. I didn't know how to share them on here, so I sent them to your inbox on Messenger of the sunrise that looked like pure fire. It looked like the forests were on fire, and it was just the sunrise. It was just really amazing.
We go let's
It's in your messenger. See if you can share them.
I'll try to do. Yeah, that's wow. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, they got to see that. You guys, you got to see this. You got to see this. You got to see this. Let me send it to you. Let me see. Yeah, you got it. I got it. Oh, I got it. I got to share this. Thank you, Elder. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me share it. You got to see this. Okay. Here you go. All right. I'm going to accept it. All right. Open. Okay. Oh. Come on. Okay. Successfully imported. Okay. Before else, let me see. Hey, when stuff is delayed. What happened? Oh, here it is. Okay. So let me share this, what she just sent over, which is perfect. This is an example of what he's talking about. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we could see it.
All right. So when we talk about Yah's glory, right? Check this out. You see this? What is the sun anyway? What is the sun anyway?
Yeah, fire.
Right. So if you look right now, it looks like all this is on fire, right? So what he's saying is, when we see the glory of Yah, the whole entire sky is going to look like this. The whole entire sky is going to look like that. He also gives you some scripture that gives a description on how the actual sky is going to fold back. It's going to roll. It's going to roll up like a scroll, because it's not going to be able to handle the fire. So it's all going to just remove. It's all going to be removed. You see? Okay.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. So everything is going to be ripped open. Okay. And go ahead.
I just also wanted to also thank you for your lesson this week on really, I really, both Elder Bill and I really came into true understanding of Jacob's wrestling with the Malak, and you know the difference between being Jacob and being Israel, and it really helped us on some of the struggles that we have on this walk, and really understanding why the Most High puts us through them. Because like Abraham, I guess, you know, you were pointing out with Abraham and age, sometimes we think, especially as we get older, we're getting older now. I mean, my baby's 34 years old. You start to feel like you deserve a rest. But we have so much to learn from him, and it wraps up into really what you were saying in Isaiah 43. I said this week in a post that I really became his witness by, living life and trying yoga, intellectualism, and Pan-Africanism, and all these different things for the various pain and angst and ailments that I had in life. And then when I came into this awakening, I became a witness that truly became a witness that none but he can heal and make me better.
Yes.
So,
That's
yeah.
the reason why.
Yes.
That's the reason why he sent you through that. All of us have to go through our trials and our testing, and he'll use whatever was necessary in the means. So your trial will be different from mine. We may have some similarities, but guess what? He knows how we're built and he knows what we're made of. So he'll give you what he'll give you, So here I wanted to share this and then let you guys go. He says in Isaiah, he says, "Come close, you nations, and listen and pay attention, pay close attention, you peoples." See, again, he's talking to who? He's talking to the nations. "Let the earth hear and everything in it, the world with all it produces." He's even talking about the vegetation. Listen, Yahweh is angry at every nation. So when he told Yirmiyahu that, guess what? I'm going to tell the children of Israel that I'm not going to destroy you all. I'm going to make an end of them. I'm mad. I'm so furious with their armies. I'm angry. He has completely destroyed them and handed them over to the slaughter. Okay, over to slaughter. He's going to kill them. He said their slain will be thrown out. Kind of like what you saw, what happened this week in our Torah portion, where Levi and Shimon went in and they killed everybody except for the women and the children. He said the slain is going to be thrown out. The stench will rise from their corpses. The mountains will flow with their blood. Now, I told you that his glory is coming. The whole host of heaven will decompose. What host? What are you talking about? Azan, you talked about the stars not giving any light and nothing else.
Yes, that's
all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes,
Here
yeah.
he said the whole host of heaven, the sky, the clouds, the heavens themselves will be rolled up like a scroll. All their array will wither away like a withering grape leaf that falls from a vine. That means it's going to wither up and wither like a fig from a fig tree. Then he says this, "For my sword has drunk its fill in heaven, and now it descends on Edom to judge them, the people whom I have doomed to destruction." Okay. Then he talks about how he's going to kill them and so forth and so on. But I just want to let you know that that's talking about the judgment. So when he brings this judgment on the earth, the first place he says he's going to stop to bring upon them is Edom. He's stopping off there first. He's going to deal with the people that is doomed to destruction, the people that he literally hates. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. So, we should be honored to be his servants. And we need to understand what's going on. And it is, you're not struggling with him. A foolish person would think that they're struggling with him. They're not. We were told you're struggling with Elohim. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're supposed to be persistent with Elohim. Okay, Akoti. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Tell him I'll do that. Shabbat Shalom, Tola. Yeah, so that's what it is. You need to persevere with him in the midst of your troubles and your difficulty. Then when you do that, or when we do that, then you and I will become Yisrael. And then once that's all ready and it's all said and done, then I'm going to come and get you. And then you're going to be my servant. Then you can go brag to the nations who you are. Right now, you can't say nothing. So that's coming. Anyone else?
I say hallelujah to that.
Hallelujah. Praise
Yeah.
the living Elohim.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for coming today. I appreciate you. And I am going to be holding our class today at 4:00 for Hebrew. So those of you who want to participate, if you can't make it, that's okay. I'll have it recorded.